Let's go. Welcome everybody to the first episode. I'm so excited to be here. Finally, we made it. I just want to say real quick, thank you so much to everybody for the support over the past few days. It means the world, and I'm so excited to share this first episode with you all. Once again, to recap, this is a show about variety with an emphasis on mental health and well-being, more specifically opening up the discussion about mental health. So today on the show, the first episode, we have Max Parker, a singer-songwriter from Toronto, Canada. His new debut album, 17, is out everywhere now, featuring the hits Good Time and his new radio hit, Try, both of which are absolute bangers. Also, Max has the honor of being named by none other than iHeartRadio themselves as iHeartRadio's future star, which is an incredible accomplishment in his early music career. Are you guys ready? Because if so, I'm definitely ready. Let's go ahead and get this interview rolling. Thank you so much for watching. Here is Max Parker.
Yeah, just to make my voice a little more crisp for you so you don't have to be like, what did he say?
I mean,
right.
your voice is sounding extra crisp right now.
Yeah, pretty crisp, bro.
It's really crisp. My God. Wow.
It's fuck.
Look at this. This is amazing.
Krispy Kreme donuts, bro. Okay.
Or maybe an uncut version of the podcast.
Uncut, baby. Right.
There we go. Look at us having a great time.
Yes, we're having a fantastic time. Okay.
Is your voice crispy like fish now? Is it good?
It's crispy, bro.
You need to do ASMR. That sounds really good. I'd fall asleep. Just start eating tofu.
Yeah. All right. I'm honored.
I love it, man. No, I mean it though. Thank you. And thank you, the listener, whoever is actually tuning into this, whether you're a fan of Max or whether you're a fan of Brandon. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into this. Seriously, Max, thank you so much for coming on and being a part of this.
Of course, man. I'm happy to be here, and I'm honored to be on your first ever episode. This is amazing.
That means a lot. Thank you so much, dude. How's your life going? How's reading week going? How's it going so far?
Honestly, it's been a pretty stacked week. I can't lie. I've been writing a lot of songs, a lot of sessions over Zoom and in person. Just got a demo back, and I've got a slapper on my hand, so I'm ready to go.
Is that the confidential thing?
It's one of the confidential things.
Yeah.
There's actually another confidential thing that I'm actually crossing fingers that will actually happen. Can't let you guys know about it. But yeah, I'm really excited. So yeah,
I'm excited too. I'm hoping it's woke up at 4.
I can't say what it is.
Fair enough. No, that I won't pry. But listen, though, honestly, congratulations on your accomplishments thus far. Your album 17 is out now. You are also have been named by none other than iHeartRadio themselves as iHeartRadio's future star. That is an incredible accomplishment for someone so early in your music career. I just want to take a second for the listener and for you just to congratulate you on that, because I never really got to formally.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. So what I've done essentially is I've recorded a little bit before we hopped on the call today, just giving a little bit of an introduction to who you are. It's very brief, but I would like for you, if that's okay, to just tell the listener about yourself. Who are you, man? Who is Max Parker?
Yeah, I mean, if you hadn't heard my name, my name is Max Parker. I'm a musician, singer-songwriter, pop artist, actor from Toronto, Ontario. I mean, I love doing music. It's my number one passion. I've been working hard at it professionally for 6 years now. And there's been a whole bunch of accolades I've gotten in the industry. But I'm also kind of versing out into acting too. Both Brandon and I go to Brock University, and he's in a couple dark horses. I'm in I'm majoring in dart right now.
Yes.
So it's been a wonderful experience despite being online here and there for the pandemic. But I'm just happy to be in person this year and kind of just rocking it and just being in the theater. The stage is where I belong.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We met in an applied theater class, and I don't know if you remember this, but we bonded over the Chicago, the Bean. Do you remember that?
Yes, the Bean. Oh my God. That was our first really great connection, like
Yeah.
even over Zoom. Like oh my God, we had a huge laugh about that. But we won't get into. Let's not get into that because I have like bad memories about that. But I
I
mean, like
know,
it
and
was
that's what's
funny.
pretty twisted about it. We bonded and laughed over those bad memories, but you know what? It gave a friendship out of it. So that's a
Yeah.
positive, right?
Yes, that is a positive for
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah, and I remember I was like, I want to follow this guy. He seems so cool. I had no idea that you were into music and stuff. I know you had talked about it, like making music in the past of the class, but I was like, okay, maybe he dabbles a little bit in SoundCloud
Well,
or
that's the thing, man. Like
yeah,
I was I'm always like extremely humble, which is like a good thing, but it's also a really bad thing sometimes. Because sometimes I feel like I need to speak up more for myself. Because
no,
some people are like, "Yo, so like, what do you do?"
yeah,
And then all of a sudden I'm like, "Yo, like, follow me on Instagram." And then they see I'm
yeah.
verified. I'm like, what the hell, bro?
Dude, that was my
Like,
exact experience. I went and tried to
yeah.
follow you on Instagram because I'm like, oh, this guy's sick. We bonded over the Chicago Bean. Like, this was hilarious. I wanted to follow you. And I was like, I keep seeing this account, Max Parker Official, with the verified check mark. And I'm like, oh, it's not this guy. And then I was like, oh, screw it, whatever. So I click on it and I'm like, oh my God, it's you.
Yeah, yeah, it happens with almost everyone. Like honestly, it's a fun feeling to have someone be like, "What the hell? Like this is you." But at the same time, I feel like I do sometimes need to speak up more for myself and be like, "Yeah, I'm a musician and like I actually like professionally record songs." But I
Yeah,
don't know. There's a fine medium in there. Like you can't be cocky about it, but you also can't be like extremely humble about it either. So
you're absolutely right.
yeah,
It's a very fine line between being like, walking through the doors of the school in your class, like on first day, and being like, you guys are in the
totally.
presence of iHeartRadio's future star. I hope you all know that. And that's what you say to people on their very first impression. You're like you say, there's a definite medium in there for sure.
Yeah, of course.
But speaking into music specifically, what made you want to get into this industry?
Oh man, there's a lot of things. I mean, it was kind of just normal. Like I picked up guitar when I was like 9, and I didn't really think anything of it. It was like a hobby at the time, and I was just like playing a whole bunch of covers. And I'd always go to my guitar teacher and be like, I want to learn the next Shawn Mendes song, or I want to learn like the next like Justin Bieber song, and it would always be that type of thing for a good couple years. Then I did some like recitals like with the music center that I went to, like that's really close to me, and that was like really really good. And then all of a sudden I started playing open mics and then it kind of just started evolving. I got my first producer. But the big signifier for me was when I dropped Out of the Blue, which is my first ever single that I released. It was written about a high school experience in my
Yes,
bedroom.
yes, yes.
And it just happened to be one of those songs where I listened back to like the finished like demo before it got mastered. I was like, whoa, like this is pretty sick for like the first song I'm gonna be putting out. Like this is pretty polished. So I put it out and actually, before I put it out, I inputted into this like CBC Searchlight competition, which is like a Canadian like national competition where you put
Yeah.
in your song and you're like up against like thousands of Canadian artists and like they nail it down to like pretty much like I think thousands to like top 100, then like top like 50, then top 25, and the list goes on. But I pretty much like long story short, I got like top 12 standout. And that was the first time I had ever gotten like a specific like type of award in music, and I was like, wow, well, if anything, this is a huge signifier for me to like just keep going with it. So, and
Yes.
it's like
Yeah.
CBC music too, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
like
Oh
that's
yeah.
it's a pretty prestigious like thing to get. And I was like, whoa, okay, like that's crazy. So then I just kind of like kept writing songs. And this was like when I was like 15, 16. So I was like, what is going on? I was in like grade 10, 11. Experienced some more stuff as high school kind of came to a close. Then I met an A&R who's been like super amazing. And he's led me to like a whole bunch of other producers here in the six. And it's been just fun like writing and like just making like really cool songs. And then yeah, after like a couple years through the pandemic, I dropped Something About You and like had a slew of those singles and then dropped my album 17. And honestly, I'm kind of like more happy than anything to say that like I've got an album out. Like as an artist, I feel like that's something that is just like like it just feels good to say like I've got an album out and like I have one under my belt now. So I feel like I'm just trying to expand my catalog, but also like have a bigger presence on social media as well. It's something I'm working towards too.
You have an incredible presence on social media, and yeah, again, congratulations. It's such an incredible feat for an artist to do and accomplish at even that sort of age, right? And it's funny, you talk about something about you. That was the first song I heard from your discography, and I was like, wow, that was the moment I knew. I was like, there is something different about this, because people have showed me their music in the past, and it's like, well, it's not bad. I will never say the music's bad. It's just not my thing. But what you had really appealed to me. It is the sort of music I listen to. And you talk about Out of the Blue. It's my favorite song that you've ever released so far, and it's incredible because I relate a lot to the lyrics as well. And it's a lot of the stuff you talked about. It's very, very relatable, and that's why I think it holds such a good place in my heart, especially.
Wow, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah,
No
I mean,
worries.
Out of the Blue is something that was just in my bedroom. Like, I think it was an actual experience I went through, and I just kind of like felt it out and wrote the chorus. And I was like, wow, this is pretty special. So I just took it to my first producer, and then I don't know, it's like we really elevated it. It was like kind of this like acoustic demo, and then it just went like full like pop rock mode, and I was like, wow, this is sick. So yeah, I was really proud of that one, but um yeah, I appreciate the kind compliment. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah, I just feel like maybe people don't tell you it enough. But I've never really opened up much about how your music makes me feel. But we just went through a move recently, and in the past summer we moved into a new place, and it was literally the anthem of our move. There was Good Time. It was Something About You, Out of the Blue, Out of Love. We had those songs on repeat, and it just made the whole experience so much less stressful. We had the tunes going in the car nonstop. It was just fun. It was just a really, really fun time. But which leads me to my next sort of point. How do you create your songs? Because it takes a very creative mind, and you're very artistic, and so what's sort of your process in order to make these songs?
Honestly, it kind of ranges. Like as an artist, there's no like specific like formula that I like stick to. You know what I mean? There's no it's not like a cooking recipe, you know? It kind of like goes back and forth to a bunch of different types of starts. Like whether it's like a drum loop that I find or I'm with a producer and like they have this like track that's kind of like already like being built in the like in the midst, and I kind of like hop on the mic and feel some melodies out. Like it kind of ranges. So there's no like
Gotcha. Yeah.
definitive I don't know. I feel like I mean when I produce alone, like I've been producing for about a year and a half now on my own. And obviously it's not up to par with like the producers I work with, but I feel like I could get there in like a couple years time. But like I
Absolutely.
usually
Absolutely.
find loops at first, and
Yeah.
like I usually play my guitar, like get a nice riff going and like
Yeah.
get it like on the grid, snap to the grid to a BPM, and then I like throw drums over it. So there's like several different things. I sometimes I even write like I'm not even in the studio sometimes. Like I just have my acoustic guitar and I just like write a whole song, and then I voice memo the whole song, and then like I save it and then send it to my producer, and then we build that out. Like there's so many different ways you can do it.
That's incredible. That's awesome. Yeah, I guess I wasn't really as knowledgeable on, how much of your stuff comes from producers, how much of it you made yourself. So that's really interesting that that you were able to sort of shine some light on that. That's really cool.
Yeah, man.
So we did talk about a little bit about how you write your songs from experience, right? With Out of the Blue, you talked about that specifically, but do you write most of your songs from experiences? Do they come from the heart? Do they come from other experiences that you've seen in real life? So what walk me through that?
Yeah, I think most of the songs are definitely from experience. I mean, like most of my album was like literally my experience in grade 11 and 12, kind of like departing from high school and like kind of, having either whether it was a girl or whether it was like friends that I knew were going to separate universities. It was kind of about that, like the Toy Story type of like thing, like
Yeah.
where like Andy kind of leaves and it's like kind of this sad thing, but it's also bittersweet. Like that was pretty much the whole like idea of the album. But then there was also songs like Something About You where like I kind of just expressed my angst towards people I just didn't really jive with. There's no hard feelings to anyone to from any of those songs. It's just the feelings that I've had, like whether it was in the moment, in a certain grade, on a certain day. But it does revolve around like what I went through in high school, and I do like to keep that a little mysterious. Yeah, that whole album is, yeah, it's definitely a high school type of like walkthrough for sure.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Man, this is so cool. I'm loving this. I'm really loving this. As a fan, because I genuinely am a fan. This is so cool to hear the process and the experiences behind it all. But sort of moving on, you just talked about angst, right? And in the song Something About You. So Is there a certain emotion that you hope the listener feels from each track? And is it similar to the one you're experiencing sort of while you're making it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. I
Okay.
think it's not. It's a mix of an emotion and also a feeling too, actually. I mean, I'm talking from my personal experience when I listen to like artists like The Weeknd. I know you love The Weeknd, or
Oh,
whether it's
Max.
artists like Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Like even artists like, I mean, sometimes Dua Lipa is like killer. You know what I mean? I listen to a lot of pop, but I also listen to people like Daniel Caesar and like all the like the cool R&B guys around Toronto and like a whole bunch of places. But it's like a mix of like this, like I call it like the energy ball, where like you have this like feeling in your chest,
Yeah.
and it's almost like your heart's kind of like exploding, but in a good way. Um, and that's when I listen to like really emotional, like slow songs. I get like feelings from that. Like when I listen to like the first album by John Mayer, like Room for Squares, like
Okay.
I highly recommend, because
Yeah.
that album is like, it will, especially at our age right now, like it will literally like it will it will change your view. Like it's so, I can't even describe it. It's so like relatable to like what John had lived through when he was like early, like kind of like going through the motions of life, and like us, wanting to like aspire to do things, but like being unsure whether it's going to work out in the end. Like it, Room for Squares is that whole vibe. And I think like I got like a heart explosion, like emotion in a good way, and
Yeah.
it really grabs you. But then when there's like really upbeat songs like The Weeknd, or whether it's like, I don't know, whoever it is, I get like the chills like throughout my whole body. And I know everyone has this feeling, but it's like right, like in pre-choruses, or like when choruses hit, when like there's like this top line melody that's like out of this world, and you're just like, wow, like this is phenomenal. And then all the time, like I check the writers to see like who wrote the melodies and who wrote like what, because I think there's just some really talented writers out there who don't get credited enough. um and obviously, I mean, like the artists are super talented too. Even Ariana Grande as well. Like I know I'm talking a lot of pop, but I am a pop artist, so I do focus on a
For
lot of this
sure.
stuff
Yeah.
anyways. But it's just that like chill feeling that you get in your body, where it's like, holy, like that was insane. Like it's just like some like sort of magic that you hear, and like that's what I aspire to do with my music, is like to have like a 14, 15-year-old or older, any age really, like being like in bed with their headphones at like 1 in the morning, and they're listening to my new track, and they come across it, and they just get like chills throughout their whole body, and they're like, wow, like I lived through this too. Or like, the cool thing about music is that like you can express a different emotion to a listener, whether or not like it's the exact same thing you went through, or it's not. Like someone could take a message so differently, and I think that's like the beauty of art as well.
Absolutely.
um
Yes.
so yeah, that's everything I could say about that.
Brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, I remember when I listened to one of your songs in particular, Fly Away, and I noticed the production value behind your songs had, like, not that it was bad by any means, but it had significantly improved with that song in particular. There was something about it where I was like, wow, this seems like all the songs on 17, all the songs on your album feel like they should be hits on the radio. And that's why, and I get that ball of energy. You literally put my thoughts and my feelings into words with that ball of energy. I remember listening to the album all the way through and listening to Fly Away when it came out, right? It was absolutely brilliant. I had that same sort of thought. I was like, the production value. I had the headphones. I actually have the same headphones you have there. The Audio
Thank you.
Technica. It's a great brand. Give them a
Yeah,
shout out.
yeah, shout out Audio Technica. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I absolutely get what you mean. It's phenomenal. It's really, really such an incredible experience.
Yeah, no, it's I'm glad you could, relate, and also kind of like feel the emotion I was portraying too. Like that's
Absolutely.
something that I strive for as an
Yeah.
artist, and to
Yep.
hear that, like, even if it's one person I'm impacting. I know that like sounds like super like weird, because it's like, Max, don't you want to like impact the whole world? But I feel like right now, even if I'm impacting like a handful of people, like that means so much more to me than like anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it my mission to like just make music for the rest of my life and be a musician, because I can't see myself doing anything else. Only acting. I could do acting, but music is like my number one right
Good.
now. So I don't see myself doing anything else.
The Peter Parker impression is pretty on point. I think you'd land a great role as a new Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, my last name is Parker, so I mean, I
Yeah,
kind of have left there already, but
that's true.
yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So as we sort of transition here to the next part of the podcast, certainly what I want to, this is a variety podcast, okay? But there is
Yeah.
a sort of emphasis and an overarching concept of mental health and well being. That's what I want to specify in. That is what I want to promote the discussion in because it's not discussed enough. People don't feel like they can talk about it, and that's wrong. And we need to reduce the stigma around it. So I've got you this week. Next week, I'm actually interviewing someone from the reality TV show Big Brother.
Sick,
Yeah,
bro.
I know,
Man.
man. So that announcement's coming soon. I'm really excited about this. This is a really cool thing. I want to talk to people from all different sort of walks of life and experiences, right? So bringing this to you, and if you feel uncomfortable at all during anything, you don't have to answer any of these questions. It's just a talk, an honest talk about mental health,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, do you ever get super down about things relating to music, whether that be, motivation, I guess writer's block, for example, or streams not doing as well as you'd hoped, whether it be TikTok or Spotify, or maybe even creative outlets? Like, do you have anything that sort of gets you down as an aspiring, singer songwriter?
Dude, I'd be fat lying if I said I didn't go through any of those things. Like I go through that stuff almost daily. Um, TikTok is a fun place to be on, to kind of share my content and like
Yeah,
promote.
absolutely.
But at the same time, it is draining to like be on there and post like, a video per day or even just going live or doing this type of stuff. But what I have to remember is that there are fans out there who really enjoy the music and really want to see me succeed, and I want to take them with me on the journey. So I have to remind myself that like there are people that are supporting me, and I feel like I would be doing a disservice if I was like almost never on social media, right? Because how
Of
else am I
course.
supposed to like, interact with my fans? You know what I mean? Like Ed Sheeran always talks about how like Instagram is more so a promotional tool and he only
Yeah.
goes on there to like promote his music. But he's promoting his music, but also reaching out to his fans at the same time. And I think there's like an even balance with that. Um, Obviously like you can't be expected to be on social media like every hour of the day. That's going to like burn you out.
So bad
But
for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really bad, and unfortunately like that's how it's kind of turned, where like there's millions of artists like me right now who are probably like making another open verse challenge for TikTok. Like it is
Yes.
there it's like a serious game. Like
Hmm.
um whether or not like the industry is like very creative and collaborative, like there's artists out there who are saying to themselves like I'm the next big thing and like I'm ahead of this guy and I'm gonna get ahead of this guy. Like it's very competitive, but it's like a silent competitiveness, if that makes any sense.
No, I totally.
So that can get like really into your head, but I think we all have to remember that like we all have our own path, right? And I think it's good to kind of like see these other artists or see these other people that like you're following or that you're friends with, but it's also good to kind of really focus on you and be like, okay, like what do I need to do today to better myself for tomorrow? That's like the most important thing. um and also just to kind of like balance like the workload with like the time for you, you know what I mean? Like I'm making sure now that like I'm spending the time to like read a couple chapters of a book before I go to bed, or like
Brilliant.
meditate, or wake up and stretch,
Yes.
do things for my body, really take the time to like just breathe for like at least 5 minutes every
As
day,
simple as it sounds, you gotta breathe.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's a lot of things you can do, but life this is the most true thing. Like life is always going to get in the way of your plans no matter what. You'll have like 3 good days where you've planned stuff out and it goes according to plan, but on a Thursday, there could be a big speed bump that comes across, like, something might happen, you have to deal with it for the whole day and your plans get kibosh, but
Yeah.
that is just how it is. And I think you just have to like accept it, take a breath, and then resume and keep going. Even if you're late for a deadline, it's not the end of the world. I think, we're all human and we have to cooperate accordingly when things don't go our way. I think it's
Yes.
all about how you react to the situation.
Dude, thank you for opening up about that. That was really, really insightful. Something that really, sort of caught my ear in particular was the fact of like being better tomorrow than you were today. And just to add on to that, the whole concept of being 1% better, just 1% better than you were today. If you're 1% better by the next day, those small sums are going to add up to something so exponentially large, and it's going to be incredible. And it shows incredible growth and development. So that was just something I really wanted to relate to that with you. That was awesome.
Yeah, man, for sure. And if I were to keep kind of going on about it, I mean, I had my Instagram account disabled for like 10 days. Like I
Yes, the
got like
outage.
I got hacked and logged
Yes.
out for 10 days. Like no fans could see my profile. I couldn't even like search my own profile with my main
Yeah.
account and like see where it went. And that account's verified and everything too. So I was like stressing because essentially that's like equivalent to like a professor's like portfolio, like PhD, you know what I mean? That's, I've put all my work into that profile for like 6 years now, and to see it like being gone for 10 days was like, dude, like I won't even lie, like I had breakdowns like through those 10 days because it meant a lot to me for the account to kind of like just get wiped all of a sudden. So,
Well, yeah, man. And
there's
yeah, it's like to put that into perspective for anyone listening, like think about it. You engage with 12,000 people. 12,000 people follow you. If you lose that, that is 12,000 people that you no longer have that network and that access to.
it was scary, bro. It was
Yeah.
really scary. I was on loads of email threads with Meta, and I'm so happy I got it back. I think it kind of like lit a fire up my butt though, to kind of be like, Max, like, when you get this account back, it's like go time. Like, you gotta like show up and like really mean it. So I think it gave me like a super strong message, and although I hated it in the moment, I think it was just I feel like everything's a sign, like no
Yes.
matter good or bad, like
Mhm.
even the confidential stuff I can't tell you about, like there's I wish I could tell you about it, but there's just signs, there's just moments where you
Yeah.
have to like take an opportunity that comes and lands in
Yeah.
your lap. Like you can't hold up, like you can't pass it, you know what I mean? Like say yes to everything that you feel good about. Even if it's like a show that like you feel like iffy about, or oh, like I don't want to really do a show, like you say yes to everything. And like, do I have my doubts like almost daily? Yes, I do. Like I won't even lie, like I'm not out here like Russ, like being like, yo, like I'm like the biggest thing in the world, like I'm gonna be like the superstar. Like he's saying that every hour. I wish I had a mind like Russ, you know what I mean? But like it's a lot of people don't have a mind like that, where it's like positivity all the time. And I bet you Russ, even off social media, is probably sitting in his room sometimes being like, man, like, is this song good enough to put out? Like everyone has doubts. Like everyone goes through this stuff, and I think it's totally normal, and I'm glad we're talking about it on the pod today. But um yeah, like it's just everyone goes through it. Everyone goes through these things.
I absolutely do, man. That's yeah, absolutely, 100%. I absolutely agree. What do you do? What actions do you take to better your mental health when these things go wrong? So I know you're a runner. You love to run, and you're also a big fan of Pancake Saturdays. It's something little to look forward to every week. So tell me, what gets you happy?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that gets me happy. I mean, like Pancake Saturdays is, I mean, my favorite thing.
Yeah, yeah,
I haven't had a lot of pancakes recently though, just because like I've been actually kind of like on a workout like slash, I mean, like not diet. I mean, pretty fit, but
yeah.
I'm just kind of like staying fit. You know what I mean? Like
Gotcha.
I'm just kind of working out like 3 to 4 times a week. Quick 30-minute like Nike workouts, like
That's
core and
good.
upper body. Like, you know, it's just to kind of like check in with my body and kind of see how I'm doing. I'm sore as hell though. Like I haven't worked out in a while, I have to be honest. And
Dude, I feel
um,
you. I just started at the gym too. It's hard to get that sort of into your routine. But yeah, carry on. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind with like trying to balance the working out with the music and like, everything like the mindfulness and stuff. But, meditating is something I do and like take seriously. Even if it's like not a guided meditation, like even if I just sit down and breathe for a couple minutes, like that's so important. Walks are underrated, man. Walks are so
Yes,
underrated.
absolutely.
Um, yeah, like there are like scientific articles like on like the Times saying that
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
walks improve like, like your neural, whatever it's called, like they improve like your intelligence,
Hmm.
and I think it's so underrated. Just
Yeah.
going out on like a 10-minute walk to catch like a breath of fresh air,
Hmm.
it's so important. So I think those are like the most important things. But I also, again, like taking time for yourself, like, I think there has to be at least like one half-ish day of the week where you just like veg and just kind of like do nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I think you have to work on yourself and like work on your stuff.
Yeah.
And, I'm not saying don't work hard, like work hard, but have like a Sunday where you just kind of like, grab a bag of chips and like watch a couple shows. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's really important too, so that you're not like burning yourself out.
100%. You got to take time for yourself. And that's a perfect example of self care. But yeah, going outside, getting that bit of fresh air, even if you're just sat outside. And I know it's harder right now, anyway, with the winter weather and stuff. But that's why, for the first time in a long time, I'm excited for spring and summer because I think this winter has just been really grueling and it's kind of sucked, to be honest. So I'm really excited for spring and summer to get that just positive vibes back and the nice weather and the sun. It's going to be good, I think. Are you
Yeah,
a summer
man.
guy?
Yeah. I am a summer guy.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to say like I love spring, but I also equally love fall too because like my birth month is in fall. Actually, it's technically in summer, but it is late September, so technically
Gotcha.
start of fall.
Yeah.
But I don't know, there's something about spring, man. It's like there's like this aroma in spring that you smell and it's like, oh,
Yes.
like this is spring, man. Like it feels so good, especially when it starts
Right.
to get warmer.
Yeah.
Summer I love, especially when there's days that it's like not too hot. And then fall is like, oh, like on the good like autumn days where the trees
Oh
like
yeah.
so
Oh yeah.
cool. I'm getting like really Bob Ross on you guys, but like no, I mean, like I just love all seasons equally, but I have to say winter is probably my least favorite. Used to be my favorite when I was younger,
Me
like building
too.
snowman was
Oh yeah.
underrated as shit. But like, I don't know if I can swear on this, but
Dude, yes.
yeah, okay,
Absolutely
okay.
you can. Absolutely.
Um, yeah, okay. But yeah, I mean, yeah, winter's got to be my least favorite one now that like, I mean, I'm starting to hop in a car now and get my license, so I feel like the snow is just gonna absolutely rip me apart.
Really? Oh
So,
yeah, no, it does. Yeah, cleaning. I just recently got a car, cleaning that stuff
oh
off is
man.
it's a bit of
Yeah,
a pain, especially for the first year of me having to sort of do that for my own vehicle. But yeah, no, I'd
yeah.
say definitely fall is my favorite. It's without a doubt fall is my favorite. It's that perfect time. But I feel like we were sort of robbed of a fall this year. It was way too hot into the fall months. I believe personally.
Interesting. Yeah. I think fall was actually pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, it got a little coldish though. Like, I don't know, maybe it was just like very I think it was very like off and on. I think it was like very hot and then very
Dude,
cold. And it
yes,
was like
yes,
there was like no
yes.
like in between. And then it was just like
Absolutely.
winter, you know?
Yeah, yeah, so that's what
Um,
I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah.
We just got a winter out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So carrying on here. Only a couple more questions left. How you feeling? You good?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, this has been
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, we'll get you out of here in a few more questions and then how am I doing? Am I good? My first time. Am I doing good?
Dude, your talking's phenomenal. Like, did you script this out or like are you
No,
just
I,
free?
I scripted the questions. Everything else is just off the cranium.
Dude,
Not
you're
to
like
flex my biceps too hard, but
no, your pod voice is very good, man. Like I'm
thank
not
you,
even
man.
joking. Like you will do well if you stay consistent for like
Yeah,
months.
I
Like
would love to stay
holy
consistent.
jeez.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate
Yeah,
that. That made me smile. Thank you.
it's really good, man.
So I've seen you post a bit about wellness, spirituality, and mental health. I know we've kind of talked about a little bit about this already, but do you use your music as an outlet for these things? Like as an outlet for mental health? Like, does it help your mentality and stuff? Like to be able to make these songs?
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many times like some of my fans even just DM me out of nowhere saying like, "Hey, like I hope you're doing well." And like that means the absolute world. Like my fans feel the fire, right? So I feel like it's important to kind of like really hone in on like, making sure they're good too as much as they make sure I'm good. 'Cause man, I like that's something that I'm like so grateful for because I'm like I mean, when it comes to like social gatherings, like I'm a pretty like extroverted dude. Like I can like
Yeah,
talk and stuff, but like
fair,
my
yeah.
social battery like drains super quickly. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like
Me
I'm one of
too.
those people.
Yeah.
And when it's like when you're kind of just meeting someone, like when it's not a big social gathering, like I'm more kind of like introverted. It's weird. Like I'm introverted in the more like weirder times, but extroverted in the times that like really count. So, um, it's hard to kind of control that sometimes,
For
but
sure.
when fans like reach out, like ask me if I'm doing well, like I don't know, it's just another type of like good feel. Like I don't know, it means so much, and I don't even know what I'd do if I didn't have all of them. It's crazy.
I see
It's like
that
a
happening.
blessing.
Yeah, it was a couple days ago. I think someone mentioned you on Twitter asking if you were okay, and hopefully, this.
Yeah,
I want you to promote. I'm not asking you to promote it, but I would hope that you would because this is another platform where your fans can come on and learn more about you. So if you want, you can promote this to your fans, and then it gives you a platform to talk about mental health, and then your fans can come in and
for sure. Yeah. I mean, I do like, it's not to say I don't mention it. Like I do talk about it often. Maybe I could do it more so on posts, but I feel like in the DMs, I really am honest with my fans, and I'm like, hey,
absolutely.
like, I'm actually kind of burnt out today. Like, I don't feel like posting any content. And a lot of them are very understandable. They're like, like take the time for you. Like, we're always gonna be here, and like that means more than like you would ever know. It's truly a blessing to have them. And I mean, I have mentioned it like into like the public posts here and there. And a lot of artists like talk about it a lot, like, almost like every other post they talk about it. But I think like, it's enough to kind of like DM my fans and like be honest with them, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
that's something I can definitely work on.
Yeah,
But I feel like my fans are aware that like,
yeah.
I also have hard days. I'm not some type of
Yeah.
like God, you know?
Well, and it makes people know, it gets people the chance to know that you are a genuine
Yeah,
person, just like anybody else. Just because you have songs on Spotify and you're iHeartRadio's future star, you're just a person. You know what I mean?
for
You have
sure.
off
Yeah.
days as well, and it's really cool. And I hope you keep that. And I think you will. I think you've got the values already to keep that throughout the whole entirety of your career, maintaining that, sincerely. How do you say that, Max? Help me out here.
Sincerely?
Yes, let's do it. Let's go with that one.
Sincerely?
Yes.
Or
You
like
just like the general like the wow.
with sincerity?
That's it. Sincerity. I need to brush up on my wordle. Sincerity. I like it. That's
Sincerity isn't a 5-word letter,
oh, you
but
know what?
I'll take
We'll let it
it.
slide. We'll let it slide. But yeah, no, just in making sure that you maintain that for your fans. It's a really important thing to have, I think, especially.
Yeah, for sure. I agree, man.
How do you hope to inspire others, both in a sense of wellness and in general, whether that be to like aspiring musicians? Like, how do you hope to inspire people? What mark do you want to leave on this world, Max?
Damn, that's a loaded question.
No, don't worry, take your time.
I think if I had to really like take an honest answer on it, I think, I think all of us kind of think sometimes, or maybe even our parents remind us like, hey, how do you want to like, what do you want to leave behind? You know? And I think
Yeah, yeah,
that's a loaded question in itself, but I think
absolutely.
the prompt,
Mhm.
kind of makes me realize like, damn, like I could wake up every day and put so much work into this. And it would inspire so many people. And even if it's just one person, you know what I mean? Even if it's just that one person that you inspire, I think that's like super important. Um, I want kids who aspire to be musicians to know that they could do it because I did it, you know? That's the big thing, but I also want them to understand that like being kind and being empathetic,
Mhm.
being charismatic, like all those words and so much more, like just having fun, like that's a big one too. Like don't forget to have fun. I think we get so caught up sometimes in life in general, but I think when you have like a group of people who are like your ride or dies, and you go through what you want to go through and have fun with those people, whether even if you don't have those people, like even if it's just you, like you and yourself, I think it's really important to kind of like understand like that you can build discipline and like really like put your foot on the pedal and go. And I want kids to know that like if I did it, they can do it too. Like anyone can do it. Like nothing in my mind is impossible. And my mom told me that the world is my oyster. And to anyone listening, the world is your oyster. And Brandon, the world is your oyster. Like you could do anything.
I was hoping so.
And I yeah, and I think it's it's true though. Like you could put anything you could do anything you put your mind to. And I know that sounds really corny, but like it is so true. Like
Not at all. Not at all.
if you put your mind to it,
Mhm.
like there is absolutely nothing stopping you.
Absolutely. Dude, you are an inspiration. And I think anyone who listens to this will realize that if they haven't already. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing those words, man.
Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it.
So we're reaching the end here. This is it. I'm gonna end every single one of these episodes by asking one question, and you can make
Okay.
it as general or as specific as possible. Now, and we're gonna take a little bit of time. We can think about it. I'll cut it out. I'll trim the sounds and editing, whatever. What? Okay. If you could have anything in the world, what would it be? Now that can be anything, like world peace. It could be love. It could be an abundance of cream eggs. It could be whatever you want it to be. So take a second, and there's not a right answer. There's multiple things. What is the thing in the world that you want the most?
Damn.
And like I said, take some time. We'll just sit in the silence. I'll trim it up, and you're not. This isn't a game show. Just come up with what you think.
Damn.
I think that's a good question. It's a basic question, but I think it's a good one.
It's a basic one, but it's
Yeah.
also it's hard to answer because as much as I'd wish for these things, some of these answers are unfortunately like inevitable, which really
Right.
sucks.
In a
But
perfect world, in a perfect world,
in a
the
perfect
inevitable is
world,
impossible.
in a
This is
perfect world, well,
yes,
especially with what's going on with I mean I do want to mention like with what's going on with Russia and Ukraine right now,
yes,
like I will say like no war. Like that would be my biggest thing in a perfect world, like no war. Because I think like peace is something, we're no matter what, I think even in like a perfect world, I feel like people will still have their arguments and they still, they still will have their own reasonings. So I feel like peace, it's there. It's always there. But
it is.
like
Yep, yep.
I feel like you need a little bit of like breaking off too though. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like a balance. So I feel like I'd wish for like no war. Um and I think I'd also wish for happiness for everyone. Like
That's amazing. That's
happiness for
amazing.
everyone. Cause especially with the mental health subject that we were talking
Yes,
about earlier,
yes.
I think I do want I really sincerely do want everyone to understand what happiness feels like. And I'm sure they felt it before, whether they were very young or even like at their age now. But people go through really hard times. But I want them to understand that even if they're not feeling happy in the moment, um, it is a day, and you could feel happy tomorrow, and there's always tomorrow.
Always.
Uh, that actually takes me back to Annie the musical.
Okay.
Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there will be sun. I think
Yes.
that's super corny, but at the same time, I think it's like so true that
Yeah.
like even when it's cloudy out, even when it's cloudy out and there's quote unquote no sun, the sun is always above the clouds. I think everyone has to remember that. The sun is always above the clouds. It is always there. It never goes away. Um so I think that might be an eye opener to some listeners.
Yes, without a doubt.
But yeah, I think I just wish happiness for everyone and no war. Um, that's those are the two things I
I
think.
agree. And I wish happiness for you, man.
Thank you. You too. You
Yes.
too, bro.
Well, man, we've reached the end here. I really sincerely thank you so much for coming on here. When I was looking up guests for it, there will not be a podcast episode without a guest unless there's something specific I want to come on and talk about. So I just want to thank you for, while this isn't going to reach a wide audience, it's not for that. I don't know if you've seen my intro, but this is just for me. This is for me as well as anybody who, if anybody can take anything positive from this audio and use it in their own life, whether it's just a smile, whether they got a laugh out of us joking around earlier. If I've made someone smile, and if you've made someone smile or anyone's day happier in the slightest, then I've done my job. And like I said, I want to shed more light on a community that has affected the world for so long, and it needs to be talked about more. And I just want to say, when I was coming up with guests, you were the first person that I came up with. And I'm just thank you for coming on here, taking the chance to talk to me about this. And I really do appreciate it, man.
Thank you, bro. That means so much. I am extremely honored to be like the first person on like the very first episode. Like that means so much to me. So thank you very much. And I wish you nothing but the best for this podcast. And like, bro, your podcast voice is absolutely phenomenal. Like I have like so much faith that like this will do so well. Like there, if you stay consistent and keep going, like, oh man, this could be so huge. So I'm really excited to see your journey with this. It's gonna be great.
Thanks, man. I needed that encouragement. I really did. That's really awesome to hear. So before you go, it's time to plug, Max. It's time to plug.
All right.
Let the listener at home know what you got going on. Plug it
Yeah,
all.
I mean, like, I'll plug all my socials. Again, my name is Max Parker. You can find me on Instagram at Max Parker Official, TikTok Max Parker Official. I've got Facebook too, if any of the Cougars are listening. um, Max Parker Official. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, you're not.
And then no, I'm not. No, I am. And then there's also, what else is there? I've got YouTube, Max Parker Music. Check out all my music videos there. They all slap. What else is there? I've got, I think that's it. Those are the big ones. And my website's www.maxparkermusic.com.
Talk about your album though. Get your album plug in there too, and your single.
Yeah. My debut album, 17, came out September 24th. I really wish it could have came out on my birthday, September 18th, but it's okay. We delayed it. But it's 8-song album. They are all upbeat pop songs that, like Brandon said, are all meant for the radio. So I highly suggest you go listen to them if you love pop music or if you just love music in general. And I've got a lot of stuff coming down the pipe, a lot of confidential stuff I can't talk about right now, but I really hope some of those things do come to surface and do happen. So I'm extremely excited. And yeah, follow me on all my socials. Love to chat.
Perfect. All right. Well, this was the Brandon Kinsella podcast with Max Parker. That is a wrap. Thank you, guys.